Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Alif Naim bin Rosman. I represent our Group 24 for IDP project. Okay, our group member is Muhammad Alif Naim bin Rosman. That's me, Muhammad Aika bin Amran, and Joshua Sunnah R7. Next, we go to objective project. IDP provides students with in-depth knowledge and skill in project management as well as significant experience developing, designing, prototyping, proving, and verifying their design. A group of 3 or more students complete each integrated design project. This design project will be assigned a faculty advisor who will supervise and guide the project through its duration. The lecture component provides students with a specific design and project management knowledge and skill, whereas the laboratory component allow students to design, prove, and verify prototype of their design. Students will complete the detailed engineering design and prototype implementation in this PLC course. The main objective of the practical group activity is to test student ability and capability of teamwork and to obey the procedure and safety measure to construct the circuit and make sure it works perfectly. Besides building the ladder diagram in CS programmer to construct the suitable ladder diagram which work perfectly with the circuit input and output. Okay, next we go to discussion. First question is why safety is the main priority while handling the PLC and motor control. Discuss all safety measures that need to be considered. First, before handling, check to see that your motor control and working conditions are secure, hygiene, and appropriate. Second, confirm that electrical source is turned off. Number 3, before making any connection during handling, make sure the selector switch RCCB and MCB all in the off position. Check to make sure the neutral and earth cable are connected properly. Before turning on the power supply, make sure you call the teacher. On the power supply, the isolator switch is followed by the selector switch, the RCCB, the motor circuit, screw breaker, and the MCB. Always use glove and remain in the rubber mat area when working. After handling, turn off the power in the order of MCB. Motor circuit breaker, relay circuit breaker, selector switch, and isolator switch. Then rearrange all cable according to its original position, size, and color. Then clean motor control panel and work area, and lastly complete the form to the kernel how the motor control panel and related equipment were used. Next, this question is discuss your preferred control system as justify your answer. The PLC is recommended control system since it's made a simpler to monitor the motor forward or reverse motion. Number 3 is determine the challenge while constructing the system, troubleshooting the error, and propose a solution based on the circuit programming failure. First, there has been difficult with the task without a PLC since the circuit interlock is not functioning. Following the troubleshooting, it was discovered that the U and V on the forward contactor were individually connected to the U and V of the reverse contactor. The wire is the switch from a forward contactor to a reverse contactor, going from U to V and V to W. And second is when the circuit was changed from without PLC to one with a PLC circuits, the PB store at NC wire to attach the connection slip of the needed to be replaced with a new push button. Additionally, the PLC program is input I0.03 correct address for PB store was used in the circuit. It should have be connected to input 0.00. The circuit operates in accordance with the ladder diagram after changing the wire from I0.00 to I0.03. Then our conclusion is as a result, the student now has a better understanding of how mechanical interlock work in a truly situation than to this integrated design project. The motor cannot be moved in both forward and reverse at the same time since the could harm the motor. Forward and backward contactors are connected as interlock in the motor circuit. In the PLC ladder diagram, the rung for PB has a contact that closes normally. For PB, cover is interlaced and an interlock, and in the rung as an interlock reverse contact that normally close, and motor forward are used. Next, we go to our simulation video.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aikal, and now I will present to you about our case study and experimental setup. So first, let's take a look at our case study statement without PLC. First, this is our experimental setup. So here is our NCB and RCCB over here, and here these two are our contact, and here we have the LED for our forward, and here we have the LED for our reverse, and this red one is our LED for stop, and here are the push buttons. So moving on to the explanation. So after turning on the plug, the NCB will manually switch from off to on to start the circuit, and then current will flow through the circuit after the NCB is turned on. So when the forward button is pressed and released, the forward LED will light up or illuminate as an indicator that our forward motor is active. When the reverse button is pressed, the LED for forward will continue to light up because of the interlock that we have applied. So if we want to light up the reverse LED, we will have to push the stop button first, and then we push the reverse push button. Then the reverse LED will light up. Because of the interlocking that only allows either one of the motors to run. They don't allow both motors to run at the same time because of safety precautions. So now we move on to our case study statement with PLC. First, let's take a look at our experimental setup. So here we have our NCB and RCCB, and here are the contact. Here is the relay, and here is our PLC CP1E. Here is our power supply, and here is the part for our reverse push button and LED. Here is our forward push button and LED, and here is our stop push button and LED. Okay. Now let's move on to our analysis of the ladder diagram for question 1. So in question 1, when we push our forward push button, the PB stop So now let's take a look at our analysis of ladder diagram. So first, let's take a look for question 1. So in our first analysis, when we push the forward push button, the PB forward and PB stop will be energized. So the relay IR1 over here will also be energized. Then the contact relay over here will energize M1, our motor 1, and it will turn on. And as for the PB stop in our ladder diagram is normally open because the hardware is normally closed. So now let's move on to our second analysis. So after we push our forward push button and our motor 1 is running, we try to push our reverse push button, but the motor 2 doesn't turn on, doesn't move because of our interlocking function in run 0 over here. You can see that's why we cannot turn on our second motor because our first motor is still running. So our third analysis for question 1, we push the stop push button in order to stop this our first motor, and when we do that, our second motor will run, and it's the same as the first process. Only one of the motor can run at one time because of our interlocking function, and as for motor 2, the interlocking function is in run 2 over here. So now for question 2, analyze first. When we energize our forward push button and stop push button, the relay IR1 will be energized, and the contact relay will energize our timer 000, and the timer will start counting for 5 seconds. Then after 5 seconds, the contact timer will energize and trigger our forward motor or M1 to turn on. And while our forward motor is on and we try to push our reverse push button, the second motor or reverse motor will not turn on because of our interlock function in run 0. Next, the whole process will be the same as in our first motor. When we push the stop button and stop our first motor, our second motor will energize and turn on because of the interlocking that prevents both motors to run at the same time for safety features. And that's all for my part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya wakil daripada 24. Jadi first sekali kita akan tekan forward push button. Okey, dia akan menyala. Apabila forward push button ni tekan on, kita tak boleh tekan reverse sebabkan interlock. Kita kena off dulu, baru kita boleh tekan reverse. Okay. Kat sini kita boleh lihat kita punya RCCB, ni kita punya MCB. main contractor, yang ni top, dan ini housing untuk push button, dan ini untuk lampu. Okay, selamat pagi. Nama saya Rifat, saya dari 2024. Ini kita nak buat fase 3. So ini ladder diagram. So bila tekan forward button dia, lepas 3 saat lampu dia akan menyala, motor akan mula buka dalam direction forward. So kita buat dulu. Dalam forward.